Do I go hello? I was.
Mama always said, be careful of those island boys. Little girl, use your head, they will tear you up like a paper toy. Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, no, no, no. When they smile at you, darling, and wink, it's a lethal force that'll bring you down. Charmed to get you tipsy like a drink. Love drunk girls all over town.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Rumbi.
Welcome to
It's Layered. We're in a long distance friendship that started nearly 20 years ago when we were in high school.
We'll be talking about all things life, love, family, everything and anything under the sun.
Delve deeper with us because in life, zvine
Malayers.
layers.
Upon layers.
I don't know why I'm doing that.
So, Rumbi, how have you been since we last spoke?
I'm still good, still hyped, still excited to be on this journey with you of a podcast. You know, you talk about certain things like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But yeah, really, really, just happy to be doing this with you. But what is the tea of the convo as I sip my mint and honey tea? That's what you tell me.
I like it. Getting all seductive on us with the honey. Yeah.
Gotta keep the voice, on pod.
Well, I was just thinking perhaps we could delve deeper into dating because we know that that's got layers.
Zvinemalayers. Whew.
The worst. Dating has the worst layers.
Bruh.
You have to keep delving.
Yeah, we could delve forever. Like, it's like a bottomless pit. I mean, maybe not a pit. It sounds like we hate each other.
A black hole.
Sometimes it feels like a black hole. It's horrible sometimes, for sure. Oh my gosh. Whew.
But we have to show people there is light.
Some light at the end of the tunnel. But it's a long tunnel for some of us. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, some more than others.
You want to fill us in on your dating life?
Oh my goodness. So, geez, like I've had a really bad dating life. Like, it's been not great. From high school days even. Like, oh gosh, like from having crushes to I'm even getting awkward because it's awkward. It's uncomfortable and awkward. Do you want a nutshell or history of the different phases of my dating life?
I reckon the best way to navigate is phases because you change, right?
Yeah,
as the phases change, your dating life change, your tastes change.
True. Yeah. So maybe I'll start with high school. High school was the era of having crushes on boys and be oh my gosh, he's so out of reach. Oh my goodness, this boy.
And them khakis. Shout out to Peter House and making us wear khakis. They're very flattering.
Disgusting uniform. Disgusting. Very disgusting. But I think it was horrible. High school was a mess. My dating life was horrible. Did not do very well. I think my first kiss, I was 18. Oh my gosh. It was my birthday weekend. Yes, I still remember the boy. You won't give him credit out here. But I still remember.
Wait, the key. Bro, I want that key. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it was messy. I think what made high school difficult was, obviously, especially at boarding school, I don't know if it's just a Zim thing. People who aren't from Zim, let us know. If you're not in boarding school, let us know. but it was all about who's who to date in high school. Like, who's the most popular? Who do you want to be seen with? So it was really like frivolous. I just remember like having like hectic crushes and just being like, oh, well, I'm just going to go to sleep dreaming about this. And like, you know what I mean? So I honestly, high school, my dating life was like the pits. Yes, I got a few letters from guys and like roses on Valentine's Day, which was
to give people context. On Valentine's Day, our school would make you all go into the dining hall, all of you, the whole school in the dining hall, which, you know, usually sometimes when we're using the dining hall, we'd take turns so that everyone could have it. But this time they would pack you all in there. And then they would call you out bouquet by bouquet, rose by rose. People would step up and get whatever they're getting.
Huge teddy bears.
The popular girls would get all the things. And some of us would walk out with nothing. And then we started doing, like, later on as the years went, you start doing friendship.
Yeah.
So that you could, like, you know, you could get something for Valentine's.
Yeah. It was very sad. Like, honestly, it was the most, like, I don't know who thought about that strategy, but it was not kind to...
It's like a naming and shaming.
Yeah, literally. Like, you got a man, you ain't got a man. Haha, look at me enjoying my you know what I mean?
Like, sometimes I think, what a geek, I could have just kept doing my homework. I would have gotten further with that than sitting in that hallway for an hour waiting for nothing. Literally, I mean, nothing.
Oh my God.
Apart from if Rumbi had been nice enough to send me around. If my girl had come through with some pocket money to get me one rose. Thank you, Rumbi. I appreciated all the roses.
I appreciate you, girl. I appreciate you for holding it down. But no, honestly, I don't even know how to summarize my high school. I think it's one of those where you erase a lot of the memories. What about you, Amanda? How did it go for you in high school?
I actually think high school is equal to non-existent. Like, no.
Why do you think it was? Why?
I'm not even going to give any of the boys I had whatever crush on or whatever dilly-dallance with any credit, because it means it was a nullity. Like, means nothing. Has not shaped me in any way in terms of romance. It was just a waste of... you know, parents say when you go to school, I should have just...
done the books.
Like, yes,
done the books.
Because even I think for me personally... as you said, not only about being elitist and going, oh, you have to be seen with this person, that person. Also, it depends on schools. I'm sure we'll go into this in further, but Group A schools, private schools versus not private schools, salad, gouache, that whole thing.
Narrative, yeah.
Zimbabwe is very, very much classes, and within the classes, there's classes. So that's the definition of layers. Like, it's just, you have to be, and then also obviously not dating someone else's ex, and it just gets so complicated. And when you're dating from a small pool, it ends up being everyone is someone's ex.
Incestuous.
Zim dating is incestuous. Like, And then also I wore glasses in high school, which obviously means that I do not deserve to be looked at by a guy.
We both wore glasses.
It probably means, like, that is the death sentence of any girl in high school. I struggle to think girls who did wear glasses were dating hot guys. They probably were, but like, I just struggle to think, because I think people just couldn't see past spectacles. So I don't know. I think it's an accumulation of all those things.
Yeah.
I'm not really bitter about it, because I feel like in some ways you learn and you blossom from that.
Yes.
And like, yeah, of course it hurts. You want to always be able to talk about, you know, you see high school sweethearts and all that, and that's the narrative they push in all these movies and books, and but it was far from reality.
I'm with you. I
had my girls. Okay.
Yeah, I had my girls. We held it. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was just a mess and complicated to navigate. And I think something that I've never wanted to not feel like myself. And I felt like in a lot of situations you had to be different. or not true to you in order to be deemed beautiful or accepted. And it just doesn't sit right with me.
Or be that one type of girl.
Yes. And I was like, that's not me, type of thing. So for sure, I think, high school. Okay. We gonna skip past this one.
High school is a hard pass. Like, when it comes to,
it was
when it comes to romance, no.
Yeah, no, not at all. And what about college and uni for you?
That was the emancipation of Amanda.
Please do delve deeper. Tell us.
I finally got rid of those glasses that were holding me back. Once the spectacles had left, I think it helped. Contact glasses, thank you. Shout out to my optician. But like, I just felt like Australia much more, I was ready. Also, like high school, we have to remember you're also operating under the system of being a good girl.
Yes.
So when you say dating, just for people who are not in Africa or not African, we pretty much mean maybe holding hands, maybe going for movies, maybe not full on like, I mean, some people probably would, but full on having sex and kissing all the time. It was more like to have a best friend who's a boy.
And someone you can be seen with and that kind of thing.
And hang out with. But it was, I guess, less physical and more societal where you hang out together.
Absolutely. And I think that the societal thing, just to add, is like, for example, we used to have school dances and literally there'd be like 30 centimeters between you and a boy. Like if you got caught kissing a boy.
And chaperones.
Chaperones. If you're caught kissing a boy, you're in trouble. Like, so that's just like the environment. Boys used to come visit us on Sundays. That you were allowed to come from the boys' school to visit us, and they would have someone would be patrolling and checking out like what's happening.
And you'd have to sign in and say which girl you're visiting. And then also with the dances, you'd have to invite either the boy or the girl. So it wasn't like there were some that everyone was invited, but most of them were by invite only. Which obviously they put a pecking order if you're never being invited to dances. And some girls always are.
Totally.
It starts early. It starts early, the pecking order of life.
It's rough.
So I'm thinking, for me, I was unleashed from all those shackles,
Take shackles off my feet so I can dance.
I was dancing. And I was like, I'll praise him. So like, literally, I just felt like I could meet different people from all over the world. My university was pretty multicultural. I learned a lot of things about other cultures that I had never even I just never spent time with these people before. And then it helped. And then also people didn't see color, which is another thing when it comes to dating in Zimbabwe. So like, I feel like when I got to uni, I started to know myself. That's why I think I'm a bit grateful for high school, because by the time I got to uni, boys couldn't play with me because I kind of thought, no, I know what I stand for. I know what I want. Whereas I think if I wasn't sure of myself by then, I think, you just end up caught up in situations you don't want. And not to say that they didn't come, they definitely did. But that was me. What about you?
I think university, I've maintained a bit of the awkward girl. I think I definitely had a lot of the good girl thing going on, where I always would think about what would my parents think or what would so-and-so think and society think. So I was definitely still a good girl or trying to be. But I, was focused on like studying. I really like guys in certain areas, but honestly, I felt like university was a continuation of high school, like in terms of the messiness of it all, in terms of, we've spoken about classism and Zim, colorism. So, for example, Zim guys going to South Africa, where typically the girls are fairer in complexion. It's like you want to be seen. I really felt like I was at the bottom of the totem pole, like of the pole in terms of myself. But again, it gave me room, similar to Am, to like explore and like just be comfortable, like learn what I like. I was very into cultural things. I was in choir. I did a lot in that way. So yeah, I really, I'm sitting here actually like, girl, what were you doing? Like, were you really like, what happened? Like, you know, I don't think I actively pursued dating because I was always of the mindset of a guy finds you and will chase you and like that kind of thing. But I didn't know, people would be like, oh, you got to be out there. I'm like, what does it mean to be out there? Like, someone break this down for me, you know? So really just in my own space, like in that way. Yes, there were a couple of guys and crushes and all that, but it was awkward. I was more partying than anything, to be fair, like a lot. But yeah. Actually,
it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that with you know, trying to maintain the good girl, because yeah, you do see it with like a lot of Zimbabwean girls who move over here. They're heavily focused on finding a Zimbabwean boy, even if they're not still in Zimbabwe. And I get it. Obviously, you want to have someone who understands you and knows you. But I think for me, I was so put off by high school. I was like,
I'm good.
Nah, I'm good. Like, I had a lot of friends that were Zimbabwean boys, but I think also, to be honest, being friend zoned a lot in high school carried on into uni. So even if I did meet a Zimbabwean boy that I liked, we just ended up being the best of buds.
They weren't checking for you.
No. So then you could think, why bother? Like, it's fine. Let me just look elsewhere. And then if elsewhere people are approaching you, then it's like, oh, okay. But obviously you always worry with people from other cultures and other races, especially fetishizing you or like making you feel like exotic. At first you think, oh, I'm special. Then after like, a few years, you're like, this is tiring. I just want to be treated normal. So there was a lot of balancing that. You know, because a lot of Zim couples I know do meet in uni over here, but that wasn't for me either.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's complex. Like I feel like it's never linear, and I think that's why dating is just complicated. It's not ever linear. Like it's not ever like straightforward. It's just so many layers to it. Zvinemalayers. Sorry. And then in your career, how do you think that then changed as you became a working woman? And
I think as a working woman, so early on I was in a relationship. I did find my first love, and like so early on in my career I was happily with him, and obviously I was like, oh yeah, this is what we're meant to do now. You know, you meet the guy, you got the career, you then get, you know, wait to get engaged, wait to get like I thought that my life was gonna be like
straightforward.
The trajectory that everyone tells you, you know, and then it wasn't. We ended up breaking up, and then that, I think, again, resurged that thing that I'd felt in high school or maybe start of college or uni, where I was like emancipated again. Like I felt like, okay, no, now I'm a woman, and what do I want? And I have experienced a relationship. I have experienced being with someone. I have experienced living with someone, you know. What does that mean now? That I make my own money. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I want another a partner who is. So then a whole heap of frogs. Until I found your prince, so to speak. But like,
I get you.
It was fun though, I must say. I think college, it was fun. But then it was almost like you're always bound by not having enough money because you're uni, you're working, you're also trying to make sure your grades stay good. But like now when I was a working woman, it was just like, wow, actually dating can actually have an element of fun. And I started traveling more. So when you're traveling and meeting different people as well, again. So I guess it was a lot of, without making myself sound like a hoe up on this podcast. There was a lot of just friendships, entanglements. It was just a lot of like, just meeting different people,
getting entangled, and then detangling.
What I want to find in my now I felt like I had found it early on in my career, and then when we broke up, I was like, okay, now I know this is what I definitely want. Whereas before, I think I just used to think I know.
Yes.
Now I knew. Okay, this is
I'm
how I
with
am. Because
you.
when you're in a relationship with someone, you also get a reflection of who you are.
Yes.
What you think you're gonna be.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
then I ended up, well, obviously then met my husband, and here we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think career dating was fun. It got a bit annoying towards the end because then you're like, I do want to find someone. I don't want to keep like short babies happening or traveling to meet people. But definitely it was a big lesson in who I was again.
I'm with you. I feel you. I think for me, lots of frogs too. And also had a lot we need to do a segment on like dating in the church, because that's just like,
ooh, yeah, girl.
There are a lot of vocations that happen.
You need to fill the people in, because even I want to know.
Bruh, like, it was like a mess. It was a lot of sort of, you put your guard down because you're thinking you're in a safe space. And then, people really reinforce this notion that there are more women than men in the church. And also the notion of like, you need to be sealing the deal, bagging a man, that kind. So like, I was like, I'm not competing. I'm not going to compete for a guy. But guys would show interest, right? Then you're like, okay, should I give him space and time? And then you give them space, and then they just waste your time because they're doing, no commitment, no like desire to be, upfront and being like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, or like dilly-dallying and that kind of. And I honestly think I gave way too much time to some people, like way too much time and energy, and really should have like been like cut like in some way. But I think it was good. It was a lesson learned for me to be like, you need to know what you want. Similarly, I think it taught me that I want someone who knows what they want and someone who communicates what they want. So that was the one aspect. The other one was like fun. Like I was going out a lot, so I would just like have fun. Nothing ever really serious. It always would happen like I'm traveling, like you were saying, similarly, or do you get what I mean? Like nothing, really serious. So honestly, I was just like, you know what? If it ain't happening, I'm just gonna focus on like work and what I want out of my career and life. Up till the point of
fine to do.
Yeah, up to the point of like last year, and then kind of being like, I'm in this new space. I really felt like I wanted companionship. Not needed, but I wanted it. So I dated a lot, like went on a lot of dates, like, and I got tired as well. Similar with like fetishizing, obviously being in a new country, new environment. So some people are just like intrigued by the idea of you being so different, and you're just like, okay, I don't have time for that. And then eventually meeting my current boyfriend, and it was fun.
I'm
like
sure
I'm glad
a lot
I
of that in the Czech room. Would you in the Czech? The fetishizing, because there can't be that many people.
I think the issue is the language barrier in terms of not like having like a sea of guys being like, hey, what, but at the same time, when I did connect, it was really like from a like fetishizing point of view, because it's like, this is unheard of, like, you're so different, like that kind of thing. So it gets very exhausting very quickly, and I got really tired of that. Like and you can smell it. Like you can just be like, no, that's not for me. Yeah. Like you can smell it, honestly. So so that was that. Really,
or like if liquid courage is involved. Like for me, a lot of times you'd be out just having a few drinks, and someone you think, oh, he's cute, and by the time he approaches you, he's like 5 beers in, and you're like slurring his words. You're like, no, like no.
Yeah.
I would rather you would have just walked in and actually, as I saw you before, Yeah. But I think a lot of people, especially when you're in a group of girls, and especially when you're of girls with people of color, they hesitate on how to approach.
They're nervous, for sure.
And then they end up drinking so much to get there. And then they finally get there, like, oh no, like,
what a disappointment. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So, and you get over that quickly. And like going out, it's fun and all, but I don't know, like something happens after like 25.
Yeah.
The light switch just goes off, and you're like, I can't do this.
Literally.
Can I
like,
just have pizza and wine with my friends at home?
Like literally, I remember the day that like it literally was just like I was out like partying. I've been partying. And I literally was like, what on earth is happening? Like I was just really just like, nah. Like you really get to a point. So yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, what happens then is like it takes away one aspect of a dating pool for you, right? If you're not going out as much, so that just like takes away like a portion of the dudes or whatever. So it just gets complicated. So in that way.
And I suppose that's why we kept probably going back to meeting people when we're traveling, because when you're traveling, you are in the mood to go out. You are like, I want to see things. I want to, party. I want to see. Because as we said, we love to dance.
Yes.
Rumbi and I are always on. People don't understand. Like they will never understand unless they've seen us.
Yeah, no, it's
even a thing. Whether you're sober or not. The fact that we just love dancing means when you travel, then you meet those people. Like,
for sure.
And
the intention is different, don't you find? Because you're now like when you go out, it's for fun to enjoy the music and to dance. So it shifts things a little bit, and for sure, I get that. Yeah, man.
And also a great way to meet locals, because sometimes when you're traveling, you want to see how the locals do it. Where do they eat? What do they eat? Like things like that. And then, so it's another way of pretty much getting like a tour guide.
And what?
Sorry, boys.
Disclaimer, that was her, not me. Just letting it be known. I was not talking about no tour guide.
I didn't say accommodation. I said a tour guide. But hey, we can do accommodation too.
Why are you this person? Why? Oh gosh. And overall, like, what would you say, like, were the wins and the losses or lessons for your dating life?
Speechless. Wins, I would have to say, knowing myself, knowing what I want. So I think for me now, knowing who I am now, I don't think I could have done the meet one guy maybe in high school and then have dated him all the way through to now. I love that idea, and I love people who've done that and are genuinely happy. Kudos. But for someone like me, I think it was good for me to explore and actually think, okay, what do I actually want? What do I actually, seek in a partner? So I think that was the biggest win, finding me in the midst of all of that, knowing me. Like, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, And obviously the losses is probably time. A whole heap of time.
I'm reclaiming my time. If only we could go back.
Time and finances. Time and finances.
Bruh.
Can you be giving me a paper back, please?
Reclaiming my time.
My time. My energy. My zest. Like all those things, I would probably say. And obviously this is all just to do with the frogs. In amongst them having the lessons and the wins of knowing myself, it's also sometimes you put yourself out there and it's very, very vulnerable. People are trash. Men can be trash. And I'm not trying to man hate here.
Women
but I'm
can
just
just
saying,
be as trashy. It
can be, and people like sometimes in love, we can be very selfish. And there's someone else at the other end of it,
I agree.
So if you're cheating on someone or if you're ghosting someone, which I absolutely hate, it's the worst thing, If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. If you're not interested, that's fine. But tell me, don't leave me hanging and thinking you're going to text me every time my phone beeps. I'm like, is it him? It's just trash.
Yeah, it is trash. I agree completely. Yeah.
And what about you? Wins and losses?
I think the wins, I think I would have been loyal to someone who does not deserve my loyalty at the time had I won. Because essentially, I dated, but I didn't have a partner. Like, this is my first, like, full-on relationship that I currently am in. So I really...
You would say first, like, official.
Yes, official. Like, because there were many not that many, but like, they were there. But like, yeah, I think I would have invested and put my loyalty into some really unhealthy situations. And as a result, the work I've been able to do because of not really dating or not having relationships would have all been undone. Whereas now I feel, because it played out in such a way, in such a long way, I think God knew. He was just like, you just need, we're just gonna wait. I think it would have been very, like waste of time, like backtracking, or only to kind of wake up years down the line and be like, oh, this sucks type of thing. So those are the wins, just like with discovering myself, like what I like, what I don't like, and really starting to be like, who is Rumbi? What does Rumbi want? Like, what do you hold on to? Is this a narrative that was just put on you by others, or is it something you believe in around relationships or dating? So yeah, that's definitely been the wins. The losses, of course, like we said, our time, our energy, and our like conversation, because as girls we dissect. It's like, oh my gosh, and then this, like my friend's energy was stolen and time, so let's reclaim that.
If we put all that energy into setting up a company, we would be like sitting in Tahiti right now. Like, we would just be like
balling out of control.
Not with life on some yacht.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so those definitely, and the lessons are that truly no one's gonna love you more than you love yourself. Like someone, I think relationships, people are there to remind you of who you are, to remind you. But if you don't, no one will, type of situation. Does that make sense? And definitely like trust the process. Like we wouldn't be where we are had we forced things, had we, be like, it's like trust the process and you'll get to where you're supposed to be. I think those are the lessons I've learned. But yeah. Hey!
Definitely. Lessons are, like, even for me, like, I think a huge lesson would definitely be that don't always think potential is there. Like, I think we look at people and we think, potential, he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's going to... Like, sometimes just accept what you're shown. Like, there and then, don't embellish it and think, but then. So when he sends you that one text every couple of days, that's not good enough.
That's who he is.
There's no potential of... Because people, I've learned a lot, people will make time when they care. Even if I'm like, between you and me, Ruby, maintaining an almost 20-year long distance, mainly friendship, we've had to have times when I'm like, oh, Ruby, I can't talk to you. Sorry, I'm busy with this, I'm busy with that. But you know what's up. Like, it's not like you're sitting there wondering. I don't think you ever look at your phone and think, I wonder why she's not talking to me. Because I've already communicated, I've already told you. And I think the lessons are just accepted. If he's not, then accept that you're not that important to you.
You're not the priority.
It stings, it hurts, and ego is involved, but pack your bags and keep it moving.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was
rather you get stung quickly than in the long run.
No, for sure. And I think it was Maya Angelou who said, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. I don't know if it was her. I think it was.
Yes.
But honestly, and also the other thing I learned is like, sometimes it's quick, it's easy to point the fingers, but also to be like, this person was just not in the right frame of mind, and there was the signs, and like they may have alluded to it, like believe what people say or how they behave in that way, type of thing. And also sometimes it could be the right person, the wrong time, like that also exists. Like I think so often we think things don't work out because someone's a douchebag, but it can literally be like wrong time, or like we're in different parts of the world, or you know what I mean. So absolutely. But yeah,
and that just leads us into expectations.
Yes.
Because people, like, potential also goes hand in hand with what you're expecting to find.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the lists? Do you have a list? Did you have a list? Or what's your thoughts on that?
So I know, like, some people preach you have to have a list, like write it down, otherwise you won't get what you want. God won't give you the guy you want, and all that kind of list. I think I've made a list. I definitely think I've made a list at some point. But I stopped that, and I think it's more about the core values that you want a person to possess and qualities. Does that make sense? Because have you ever heard, Insecure? Let's talk about Insecure. I think it was season 2 or 3. Sterling K. Brown played Molly's love interest.
I love that man, but the way they portrayed him on Insecure.
Yeah. But you get that, right? He looked right on paper, right job, perfect. Right family, right, like looked good. But she just couldn't they just
vibe with him.
Yeah, there was something she couldn't vibe with him on. And that legit can happen, So I think it shifted more about these things, how the values I wanted. So it was about, knowing what he wants in terms of being upfront about wanting to be with me, and no dilly-dallying, no maybe not, I don't know, type of thing. Communicative, respectful, and open-minded. Probably if I say there's a list, that would probably be it. And it stopped being about he needs to have this kind of job, this kind of lifestyle, be this, that, or the other. It really was just more about things that I believe in, or core values, things I couldn't live with someone who does not communicate. I couldn't be with it. Just it would kill me, and I know I would go crazy, and I can't deal with that. So yeah, how do you feel about the list?
Girl, I'm in two minds.
Yeah.
A part of me is also you can't just be going for anything and everything.
Yes.
It's good to walk in prepared, knowing what you want. Mm-hmm. But I think you also can't be unrelenting with these lists. You can't be if you don't tick next, so because people are going to come as they are, imperfect, we all have flaws, we all have things. Yeah. So it's almost what can you compromise on, and what can you essentially put up with that's not that great about that person. Yes. And vice versa. Also, you have to also remember these lists, it can go both ways, as much as you're expecting whatever you're expecting from this guy, he's also expecting the same.
Yes.
So for me, I just got to the place where I kind of knew what I wanted, but it wasn't a checklist. It wasn't a tick, 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 but I knew fundamentally there was something. For example, a huge example for me would be family. My family, I would say in a nutshell, is complicated. So I knew I needed to have someone who's understanding. Not he doesn't have to have experienced the exact same as me. I would never probably find someone like that.
Yes.
Just someone who's understanding without being judgmental. So it was things like that where it's so when he's meeting my family, he has an open heart, he understands, you know what I mean? So it was things like where it was but putting it on a list, and you don't really see these things when you initially meet someone.
No.
But then there was also a superficial list, tall, because I'm a tall girl. So
yeah.
I want to wear my heels.
Those are those extras. We're Jesus, please, just can
you be tall?
Please. Uh-huh. I'm with you. Uh-huh.
No, I mean, the list has phases, has layers to it too.
For sure.
Could I have compromised height for someone who's very communicative? Probably.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. But
exactly.
Like that.
No, for sure. And what about the list that, in essence, our society gives us, right? Because I think in Shona there's a proverb that says, oh man, it just went out of my head. About being in the same, the community, keeping it within the community. My mom's going to kill me for forgetting this one.
Mom's going to be listening to this Rumbi. Kakumba. Rumbi zai. Go kakumba.
She'll be girl, say what? She'll be you need to get your Shona back on point. But anyway, I got a B in Shona, which was quite high back when we wrote our Shona O-level exam.
Shona is
so I'm just going to say, put it out there, but basically to keep it within the community, and what are your thoughts about those pressures? Or we come from a very classist country and society, and
not only that, we'll be being in diaspora, so it's not only people want you to meet the perfect Zimbabwean guy that you would meet when you're in Zimbabwe, but you're not in Zimbabwe. So
yes.
It's like,
how?
How? And then even when you, and as we talked about it before, a lot of these Zimbabwean guys that I've met end up friend zoning each other because we're like, my sister, and then I'm not going to be dating.
Why are you this person?
So like, for me, it was just, it's very important that family and your friends, society, the closer society, accept who you're dating. But I don't think you can tick all the numerous boxes. We have not only the Zimbabwean list, you also have your own list of whichever society. So you're living in Czech, I'm in Australia, people who are in America and England. I'm sure there's society expectations too. You know, you have to be a certain stature financially.
I was going to ask you what those expectations you think are from your society.
And it's just, it's such a complex thing to talk about because it's like, and I would love to hear people's opinions on this.
Yeah, that would be good.
Is it when you're putting your head on your pillow at night? How important is it that society cares about that person who's making you smile just before you go to bed? Like, how important? Because I feel like a lot of people have closed themselves to blessings because of it. And I always wonder, is it worth it? At the same time, some people say they're being wise because, like, you look at and here I am generalizing the Indian community where people have arranged marriages and it's more about families, then you think to yourself, okay, are they better off in the long run because their families get along? Because in the short term that might not be an issue. But when you have kids with someone, and it might be how families interact. So it's so layered because it's like, which way do you go? Do you go love marriage or arranged marriage? Do you societal marriage and I think sometimes people don't want to be honest with themselves. No one wants to say I settled. So it's a touchy subject.
Yeah, you went there, girl. You went there. Yeah, zvinemalayers. Like if I think of like societal expectations, like you're saying, it's financial, right? It's about who's who. Like, who do we know in the family? It's like, are they Christian? Are they like what job do they have?
Or totem.
Yes, totem. Like, it's just like, I don't know how, it's a lot. And I think like a lot of people, that pressure can become overwhelming. Like, you just want to like relieve yourself of it. And so you do what is expected. And some people are fortunate to find someone who meets all those expectations. But it's a lot.
And then also I feel like in saying that, there's like, not only are the expectations societal, but your parents obviously already like grow up telling you have to be with this person or that person or someone like this or someone like that. So when you choose another way, you eternally feel like you're disappointing people, but at the same time, it's your life. So it's like, well, what do you do?
So there's no winning, right? It's because it's like, I mean, if you're fortunate to find someone who ticks all the boxes on the societal parental front and also ticks all your boxes, then that's like perfect, right? But often it doesn't happen like that. Like, it's just too complex.
Not in diaspora, especially because you're meeting way more different people.
Yes, yeah. So it's definitely more complicated. But man, oh man, whew, girl. Yeah, please let us know. Please let us know.
We need to, and I need confessions from people.
Yeah, no, let us know. You can email us anonymously and like maybe we can like tap back into what you say. So you can email us itslayeredpod. It's itslayeredpod @gmail.com. It's layeredpod@gmail.com because hey, we want to know. Or you can hit us up on Instagram. It's layered, literally that. itslayered. Oh wow, yeah, man. I'm curious to hear what people say.
I feel like we're gonna revisit this one over and over again. So. It always gets the people going.
Yeah, people get hyped.